What's up, guys? Jack here, and today I wanted to talk about Forza GT and a very interesting Reddit post that I just saw from M. Moulton, which I'll link down below, but here you can see the post. And essentially what we're getting at is, should Forza GT be split up? So there's a lot of different cars that make up the current Forza GT hopper. Now, what do all of them come from? Well, let's go through them right now. So the Acura 2018 GT3, that is a GT3 car, but this version of the car is no longer actively racing. There is an updated version of this car that currently does. Next up, we have the 2017 Aston Martin Vantage. This car is also a GT3 car, but also this car is retired and there's no more V12 GT3s, unfortunately. Then we have the Audi R8 LMS GT3. This version of the car also retired, no longer racing, but it's at least an R8. So the 2016 Audi Rotec TTRS. This car's front-wheel drive. It was a VLN car that ran at the Nürburgring, but interestingly enough, this car raced in the United States with Rotec Racing and won overall at the 25 Hours of Thunderhill over an older generation 28 Audi R8. Coming up next, we have the BMW GT3. Did I really just say that? Coming up next, we have the Bentley M Sport GT3. There is a version of this car racing today. It's a GT3 car, but this version of the car is currently retired. BMW M8 GTE. It is the replacement in the GTE category to this car, which was the M6 GTLM. This was a modified GT3 car built into the GTLM regulations. BMW then came forward with this car to replace it. Both of these cars no longer racing, both extinct. The 2020 Corvette C8R. This car actually just became retired officially a few months ago in the last WEC race where Ben Keating took the car to a championship. This was a GTE class car. Same as this and same as this, although this says GTLM. That's just the name that IMSA gave the category. So these three cars right here are all GTE. Next up, we have this thing. Now this thing, if you look at the number of this car stock, it really shouldn't be racing with these. So this car has 850 horsepower. This is a Trans Am car from an American series called the Trans Am series, where big horsepower and lots of downforce. These cars are very, very draggy, but it's okay to be that draggy when you have that much power. And then we have a 2014 Corvette C7R. This car was raced in a previous generation of regulations for the GTE class, along with the Dodge Viper. These two cars never raced against any of these. An upgraded version of this did, but again, these cars are extinct. The Trans Am car is our first active racing car on the list, so that is good news. Next up, we have the Dodge Challenger V8 Trans Am car. Another car that's still racing, might be a little bit updated visually since then, but the thing looks like a brick. It is really fast in real life. Another high 850 horsepower car. These things are awesome. They race in the Trans Am series. They sound awesome. Very cool cars. Still racing. We had the Dodge Viper, of course. We just got another car. This car was just added, the Ferrari 488 GTE, just as it was retired in the WEC with its last race. So this car no longer racing anywhere in the world, just in time for Forza to add it to the game. Then we have the old version of the Ferrari Challenge car. This car is also no longer used, the 488 Ferrari Challenge. Then we have the V8 supercar from Ford and from Holden. These cars are based in Australia, and V8 supercars, they really shouldn't be hanging out with GT cars. There's a very, very big difference in lap time. I believe the Ford GT on a demonstration run, not going flat out, beat the V8 supercar track record by quite a bit. So there's a lot of differences in these cars, and one is significantly faster than the other. The Ford GT is a GTE car built for the 2016 regulations. Now, this car was very interesting because they built the race car before building the road cars. just a fun story about that car. It did win the 2016 Le Mans, and this car competed in the exact same regulations as the Corvette C8. So even though we didn't get to see them race against each other, we can in Forza because they raced in the same category. Then we have the KTMs, the KTM Expo GT2. So this car races in a newly built class from a few years ago. It's very much aimed at amateur drivers. And they are going to have high horsepower, a little bit of downforce, and a little bit more weight. The KTM is a little bit more on the lighter side, but it's less powerful than some of the other GT2 cars. We have our only GT4 car in the game, which is such a shame because there are so many cool and fun GT4 classes. If you ever watch IMSA's Michelin Pilot Cup series, Michelin Pilot Challenge series, amazing fun with the GT4s and TCR cars racing at the same time. So this GT4 car, this version, I believe, is actually still racing in a couple places, and so is the KTM. Next, we have a Lamborghini Track Day car, which I think was just added in here because of the fact we didn't have any Lamborghinis at the start of the game. So this is not a race car. It does compete in some open track day events that go inside with some races, but it is not a race car. Coming up, but it's also not street legal. Then we have the Lamborghini Super Trofeo car from 2015. This car is now retired. And we have the Lamborghini Super Trofeo car from 2018. Yep, 2023. So moving forward to the 2019 McLaren, which was just updated. So this car is now also outdated. So we have the McLaren. It's a GT3 car, standard GT3. Up next, we have the Mercedes-AMG GT3. This does not look like the one that is currently racing. The car that is currently racing is a much bigger grille. And as you can see, this one is a little bit more of the outdated version, but at least it's still the same model. We have the Nissan V8 Supercar, no longer races in V8 Supercar, which was a shame. They did get a load of manufacturers for a few years. That was very cool. But we have 3 of those cars that raced. We're missing the Mercedes and the Volvo. So coming up next, we have a multitude of Porsches. So this one right here on the far right, this is the pre-2016 regulations for GTE cars. This car in real life was a lot slower than the 2017 RSR. So this car matches up with the Dodge Viper and the Corvette C7R. Then we have the 2018 Park Place Porsche. And one thing to note after going through all these, when you see a lot of the years on these cars, you notice that they're 2018. And a lot of them have their IMSA liveries. So IMSA did have a partnership with Forza in 2018. It was when I was at Petit Le Mans, it was actually small stickers on a lot of the cars, a lot of which you'll currently see here. So maybe some more 2018 cars from the grid. It would be very cool to see a couple more DPIs enter, maybe one of the LMP2s like the Ligier coming in. It would be nice to see, but we shouldn't get our hopes up. But back to this, the GT3 Porsche, not the current generation, another retired car. And then we have this. This is the previous generation to the Porsche that they just used at Le Mans. This car was used in 2017 and 2018, one of the best sounding cars ever in real life. This car did win Le Mans a couple times, and it is a GTE spec car. So now that we've gone through all of the cars, there is enough to group them in together and make their own subclasses. With the GT3s, there's quite a few of them we can use, but the GTEs, also there. The 2014, 2015, we have 3 cars we can choose from. Currently, there are 2 Trans Ams. One coming within the next couple weeks. It's already in the game. I believe it's scheduled for next week. And we have a lot of standalone series cars. So like this Ferrari, it only races against other Ferraris in a spec series, same as these Lamborghinis. They're not multi-class or multi-car series. This is a Lamborghini series. So I think it's entirely possible to break these into subgroups. I would not want to see Forza Motorsport completely take this class away. I do enjoy this class quite a bit, but I do think they should have labels to maybe do some races like they do at Daytona, where they rotate through the cars every couple hours when they had the Rolex 24 week. That's what they were doing with the prototype class, GT class, and that was really, really cool. Well, something they could also do is have one of those featured lobbies open up and it just rotates through the GTE class cars, the GT3 cars. So it would be easier for them to balance. And I'm serious, Forza, if you need some help balancing these, ask the community. We have BOP already made for these cars that keeps them relatively close on all the tracks. Reach out to us. We can help. But moving back, what do you guys think? Should Forza split up Forza GT? Should they keep it together, or should they do a little bit of combo or both? Let me know in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed the video, go ahead and drop a like or subscribe or whatever that is. I don't know. I do this for fun, but hope you guys enjoyed. See you at the next one.